So I want to welcome to the stage Ehsan Azmat, Chief Business Officer, OPTP, and we're going to be talking digital evolution in marketing and communications, navigating brand strategy and engagement in a connected world. So come on up. Help me thank Ehsan for joining us. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean.
All right. So, Ehsan, I know I've gotten to know you through this process, but why don't you tell a little bit about your career, your role, a little bit about yourself, about OPTP, and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. So my name is Ehsan Azmat. I have been associated with the marketing, communications, advertising industry. I have been working with VML, which is JWT now, and with other agencies like Ogilvy and Mather, Lowlintus. The brands that I worked on earlier include Pepsi, Unilever, Nestle, Shell, Orascom, to just name a few. So the industries includes aviation, petroleum, CPG. Besides that, currently I'm working as the Chief Business Officer at OPTP, which stands for One Potato, Two Potato. And it is a fast food chain, and it is in the QSR industry, which is a quick service restaurant industry. We compete with the likes of McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, and so on and so forth. So currently what we are trying to do is shifting from the traditional in-store presence to more digital presence and more to going towards the AI agents and all, in order to have a frictionless medium between our customers and ourselves. So when we talk about technology, we think of it that it is going to be in the future, and we also think of it right now as an invisible tool to basically help us in terms of bringing us closer to the customers and at the same time customers to us. So we would just want the technology to be kind of invisible to begin with, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you guys have gotten to know me just from being up on stage. A little bit about my history, as well. So I want to say I've done CX for 30 years. My first job was technically a call center job back in the 1900s, right? And changed through that. I grew into other roles, more operational related, and creating better experiences and technology and things of that nature. But indicative maybe of the perception of brand and marketing is a lot of our CXers didn't stay. They went to one of the other sessions because you don't often think about, or at least most people don't think about brand and communication as part of CX. But one of the stints I had was about 4 years at a cable company where I was in the marketing department, running customer loyalty strategies and research and analytics and things of that nature. And what I'm seeing, at least right now, is that CX is actually being kind of brought into the marketing fold a little more, which I found so valuable because communication and branding, I mean, it's so key to the experience that you're basically trying to communicate and break. So tell a little bit about your, when you think your approach to marketing communication, how you make that work impactful to the consumer in a way that we would need to understand.
Yeah, so if you go back a few years, maybe just a decade or so, we'll see that in the past, television was the biggest medium at that time, and broadcasting was the thing because you just have one 30-second spot there, and then it was blasted out on all the channels, and then people, whether they were your target market or not, they used to just see it. Sometimes they used to come to your stores and stuff like that. But it was just a lot of wastage as well. But then that was the only medium, and that was the best medium at that time. The support medium at that time were print medium, outdoors, which is still very effective right now if you combine it with other platforms. But at that time, these were the key mediums. And now, if you look at the shift, for example, like recently in the past few years, when the social media came in, people were just kind of tingling with it and just using social media to understand how they can target the customers and how they can communicate and build a relationship. And I think that exercise have really helped most of the brands. And now we have moved away from the broadcast to the narrowcast by building relationships through social media platforms. And that only not gives us the data of the consumers on their behaviors, on their lifestyles, on what they actually want at a certain point of time, a certain day. It also gives us an opportunity to bring very personalized offers for them. And when we do that and we get a good positive feedback from them, so it makes us think sometimes that, we are not just a company who's delivering or who are just selling burgers and fries or any of the fast food. We are at the cusp where we have somewhat become a digital company where, selling food products or fast food is just one of the things that we do. Because now we are competing, of course, with other platforms like AI, which is going to be coming in maybe in just a few years. It's almost here now. But when we are thinking of in the future, we are moving away from just the generative AI to the agentic AI. And we're looking at agents who are going to help us understand our customer better. And then they're going to connect with the customers on their own, or the customers will connect to us through them. And what we're looking at is the future has to be very, the future has to be frictionless, of course, but the technology shouldn't be a barrier, and the technology shouldn't be actually seen. Mm-hmm. It's just a conduit to, reaching to whatever the customers want from us and what we want from the customers.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, I mean, back then, commercials, et cetera, but, and then there was the time that I was at this cable company, it was like, well, if you cut the cord, there's no commercials. Now they're all back, right? Exactly. But it comes to the point that the medium is changing and the capability is changing. And so ultimately, across all these different channels, you've got this both challenge but opportunity from a messaging standpoint, et cetera. But I think really thinking about, integration versus fragmentation, maybe when you think about this pressure to be everywhere on all the new platforms, to have that, to have the Applebee's TikTok song, or whatever from that perspective in your industry, but how do you, when you really think about the integration of the new to the old, how are you seeing that come to play?
So as I said that in the past, the broadcast was the thing. It is still there, and we still use it, but then it is for a different audience. And what we do is we don't worry about the platforms as much as we worry about the message, the brand value, the brand voice. And that, because, if you start running, when fragmentation happens, is because when you start running away from your brand message and you start chasing platforms, right? Mm-hmm. So we need to understand that there's a purpose of our brand, there's a voice of our brand that needs to be very consistent all throughout. So when we integrate among the mediums, from television to outdoors to stores to social media to, in the future, AI, it's the same message, it's the same voice, it's the same value that we are communicating to the audiences, to the customers. So that's how we integrate the key visuals, the messaging. When we worry about platforms, we lose the purpose. And right now, if you look at the new generation, because we have to keep ourselves very relevant and very connected with the Gen Z and the alphas. So the Gen Z will ask you a question whether the burger I'm eating right now, how much contribution does it have to the carbon footprint? Or they will ask question, the coffee I'm drinking, is it from the fair trade or not? So their choices are not just because this brand is good or this brand is popular, I will look cool if I have a cup of that coffee in my hand. It's more like that if it is serving the purpose, if it's serving the people of the planet, then I'm going to use this brand, otherwise I won't. So we have to understand and bring that into our communication, and not just bring that into our communication, but live it as well.
Yeah.
And actually show them that this is our purpose. And yes, if you look at, say, the beef that where we are getting, the chickens where we are getting, the fries, the potatoes where we're getting, so we are following some proper rules and proper channels. And that should be communicated, and that what literally translates in our products that we sell through the mediums.
Yeah, and I think when you're looking then at that, this fragmentation, the flip side of that, or kind of the second question is, in traditional communication and branding, et cetera, consistency, right? Making sure the message is very consistent, platform to platform, experience to experience from that perspective. But now there's this new, focus on, and the last folks were talking about it, personalization, adaptability,
yes.
which kind of is at odds with that need to have consistent messaging. So where do you see that being, brought into the decisions?
I think it's just part of the process. That's the very logical flow of things, and personalization has become the key, because if you talk about predictive marketing, if you talk about the contextual commerce, that is something which enables you to understand what customer is going to be wanting in the next few days or in the next few hours, which even the customer don't know. And your data is there to help you to understand that, this is how the customer mind works. And maybe after 4 hours of having breakfast, they'll start craving for a burger or an ice cream or this flavor or that flavor. And if the weather is such, based on the historical data, they have ordered these things. So we'll just kind of put that up front, and the customers will order. So it's not, and some people might say that, it's kind of a manipulation, but it's really not, because it's just an opportunity for the customer to know that we are there for the customer whenever they want. And if they want, it's their decision to go ahead and order something. If they don't want, they can always skip that. But the idea is that personalization is become very integral to marketing communications now.
Yeah, and I think pulling on that thread even a little bit further, campaigns was the more traditional approach.
Yeah.
You had this campaigns, but again, going into kind of that adaptability, it's a lot more about, maybe less about the cycle and more about that connection. Because I think one of the things that I see in this, especially when it starts to really translate into the experience, is, obviously marketing and branding and communication is about selling, but the experience folks are having now is a bigger part of it. You talked about Gen Alpha, Gen Z. It's the ability for selfie. It used to be selfies. Now it's quick videos of you, eating the product and experiencing that. And so you have to kind of capitalize on that in that opportunity that you give. How do you? Because it's complex. Because you just talked about doing, based on the weather or based on it's very complex stuff. So how do you enable that complexity to actually come to fruition?
All right, so you talked about campaigns. Yes, campaigns are still going to be there, but not as much as it used to be before. In the past, we used to have one big campaign, for example, for summers or for, whenever there's school holidays. But now things are different, because everyone has a mobile phone in their hands, and we can segment the audiences according to that, right? According to their behavior and choices. And as you very aptly said, that videos become the new thing. And people upload their videos, our customers upload their videos on our channels, on our platforms, and they upload their photos as well. So it gives us a very good opportunity to create content from real customers' testimonials, their slices of their lives, and bring it to our brand. And that is much bigger and much more powerful than just a campaign from the company's end, because the feedback that you're getting from the customers, good or bad, it is of value. And of course, when there is bad feedback, we try to understand and we try to mitigate the issue. But at the same time, if it's of positive feedback, it gives it an opportunity to just broadcast that and make a campaign out of that. If not with those particular customers, but then with our own models and stuff. But at the same time, the idea is to connect them on the same level. So campaigns on its own, yes, they are going to be there, but these videos and feedback that we keep getting from our customers, the slices of their life, it's something that keeps us motivated all the time and keep us going in the marketing department, because we want to really, really capture that, and we want to really speak to the customer on their level.
Yeah. So I'm gonna flip something to the audience. How many fans of the food provided by the restaurant? One potato, two potato. One. All right. The rest of you need to go get some. Go out and enjoy.
It is very limitedly available right now, but still, when we have a bigger launch, definitely all of them will say yes.
There you go. That's why they brought you in. Absolutely. So, CX, and marketing and everything else we're doing, measuring is key. Because you can't measure it and really find the truth of what's working, what's not working, so you can make changes, et cetera. So how do you look at the measurement challenge in this venue, at this time?
So, the time that we live in now, there's so much of data, there's so many things that we get, but we only have to pick and measure what matters, right? Impressions and clicks were the big thing. Yes, they are, but they're more for the vanity of things. Mm-hmm. We don't stress over them as much as we look at the real engagement, with our customers. And when we talk about using the data that we are, that we get from the customers as feedback, that data really helps us to kind of inform our future decisions, inform our future menu items, and if, for example, we ask a question, if whatever data we are getting, and if we are doing something for the customers, for example, adding a platform or adding a new item to the product, if it serves the customer experience, if it helps solve a pain point, then yes, we will do that. We'll measure it and we'll kind of go ahead. But if it doesn't, then we won't worry about that. So the measurement is important, but we can't just measure everything. We can only measure things that matter to us. And for us, is the customer experience, is the customer journey. As I said, it has to be frictionless. So if the customer is having problems on our website and they are ordering something, but there's a broken link and they can't just move forward to the next step, then there is a friction for us, and we don't want our customers to go through that, whether it's on the app or website. Looking in the future, as I said, that the technology has to be transparent. I wish they can. It's not a wish. I mean, I want to see that they just order from their smart glasses from the car's dashboard, and they just talk to the AI and have the order ready when they're stuck in the traffic or at school. And we know at our back end that this is the time they order, this is the time it'll take them to come here. So we just throw in the fresh fries and just give them right away. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of measurement we're looking at. Ideally, that's the measurement that we really, really want to lead on.
Who here measures effort, ease, friction at your organization at some level? A handful of you. I mean, it's been one of those areas for a very long time. I mean, I think the effortless experience, I know the guys that wrote the book, and it's been around now, for going on 20 years, measuring effort. And one of the things I'm seeing in that context is effort is one of the easiest metrics to measure without a survey, because it's physical. It's multiple touch points. It's it's the anger when they do call, and things of that nature. So I couldn't agree more that really understanding the effort, because we want it frictionless, we want it easy, we want it to, from that perspective. And the younger generation even more so is to say, man, if it's hard to do, I'm not going to do it at all. I've got 3 boys. My youngest, they're all college or beyond. My youngest, he's like, man, if I have to pick up the phone and call someone, I'm not doing it. From that perspective,
it's really one more step, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, so as we get into this evolution, and we've been describing it throughout this conversation that we've had, this how it's changing, the new channels, the way things are measured, what we're understanding. What do you see coming potentially that might actually continue to push that envelope and make even greater changes in this? Because you've been doing it for a very long time. So what are your thoughts on it?
So there are a few things. I think what we're expecting in the near future is the predictive marketing, where you can actually understand, as I said before, that what customer is thinking right now, and you just preempt it and respond to the customer need at that time. So it's the predictive marketing. You just predict things based on the historical data. Then again, it's the contextual commerce, which again is pretty much linked. And you know that, for example, if a customer is stuck in a traffic and they don't want to pick up the phone because maybe they can't, and there's a traffic police, and they can be caught. But at the same time, if you have a connection through the AI voice, then they can use that. So when we say that, at the same time, there's a risk of becoming a robot ourselves, sound like a robot. We don't want to do that also, and we have to keep our purpose, the brand value, and the personality the same way. So when we talk about integration, how we integrate the brand value to this platform or this channel is going to be very important as well. The third thing, as I mentioned earlier, was that we're moving a bit away from the generative AI to more AI agents, which is agentic AI, and we will have agents for everything. And it's very near, I think, 2, 3. I mean, some of the companies have already started testing the humanoids. The big thing which is coming, which is going to affect everyone, is the AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. It's not specific to any brand or specific to any industry, but it is like a general intelligence as humans have. So when you look at the AI, we see that it's very smart. It can actually generate answers to your questions, and it can it can basically run the data and give you really good answers. But at the same time, it makes very stupid mistakes. For example, showing 6 fingers in a hand, right? Mm-hmm. So that thing is going to be taken away when they become generally smarter. Yeah. And that's the time which, we have to understand. Right now, we're trying to understand how can we use them so that the decision making is still in the hands of the humans on both the company end as well as the customer end. But at the same time, they're helping us not kind of becoming barrier to our communication, to our business and all.
Yeah, well, and I think that last one is huge, because if you think of it, there are a lot of companies right now struggling because they're still running under the old way of search engine modeling and so forth, whereas now everything you're doing has to be searchable from ChatGPT or one of the different myriad of tools they can use, because it's a whole different model of how you build your content to be understood there. But to your point, now in the future, probably nearer than we like to think, we're all going to have our own agents who are going to say, give me something different for dinner tonight, and it's going to be running searches. So if you're not ready for that, that agentic replacement, now you're even further behind, and that's going to be a big part of what we're looking at. So technology, is again a big part of this. And so as we think about the tools and the platforms, we already kind of talked about from a messaging standpoint and how do you campaigns and things of that. And you just talked about the changes, agentic. So what do you think about when you think about investing in technology? Do you have any rules of thumb think about technology this way versus maybe another way?
Yes, as I said earlier, that if the technology, whatever platform or technology piece we want to add to our system, if it solves a problem for the customer, if it adds a better customer experience to our customers' segments and all, then yes. But if it's just one more additional item, then of course, we'll think about it that we won't add it. Mm-hmm. So that's the basic measure that we look at things. Sometimes you expect a lot from technology that they will do great things for you. It can, but then sometimes you don't have the use for it at that moment, where you are in terms of the stage of the business and all. So it all depends that currently what is important is to create a very seamless customer journey, and whatever helps, to do that, make it frictionless. That's the technology that we are going to kind of, bring on board.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to open it up to questions from the audience. Any questions for Ehsan? Right corner back there. Sorry, I didn't prep you fast enough, Sarah.
Hi. I had a question regarding master brand and relaunches and digital transformation. I know based on the presentation you mentioned that based on the agency work that you've worked a lot with that. Could you describe for me in terms of what your typical process would be in terms of taking a brand that's kind of that's had a lot of different, I guess, brand messaging points and trying to distill that down into one single core value and how you would communicate that out? Thank you.
Sure. Could you explain, because your voice was very low. I couldn't hear all of it.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Is that better?
Speak a little. Yeah.
Okay. The question is from a master brand level, work based on the work that you do with agencies. Could you shed some more light in terms of how you would take a brand that has many different message points and distill it down to one core value in terms of a master brand relaunch, and how do you communicate that out?
All right. Okay. As I said earlier, that we basically understand the customer first, right? So whatever comes to us and whatever message that we want to give out based on the data that we have. At the same time, when we are looking through the data, what we try to focus is to have a very good, there is a thing called customer lifetime scale of value. So just add value to that. And the messages, whatever the feedback you're getting from the customers, we create campaigns on that, and we try to, as far as our purpose is concerned, our brand voice is concerned, we try to use different platforms to be very consistent in terms of the visuals, in terms of the messaging. So that's the kind of journey we want for our customers to be on. And we want to be there at every stage of our customers' life cycle. I don't know if I'm answering the question, your question, because this is what I got from your question, right?
I guess that's definitely part of it. Could you elaborate or describe in terms of the different touch points, I guess, and how you translate that from a brand that has historically, from a legacy perspective or a standpoint, that has many different message points, and from an agency perspective, how do you take that client with many message points and boil it down to one core value message point, given where it's been and where it needs to go in terms of a digital transformation?
Okay. So again, it depends on your goals. It depends on your goals in terms of the company goals, your client's goals. And based on that, you match it with the customer goals as well. And you see where you want to see your company in the future. And then the platforms you're going to use the platforms that are only going to help bring out the real, not bring out the real purpose, I would say that, that your customers are already on, and they're using it on a regular basis, right? Try to, create the voice and the messaging as such that whatever platform you choose, because I am actually a very, a platform neutral person in a sense, because I focus more on the messaging than just choosing the platforms and the touch points. If my platform is, for example, digital right now, right? That's a big platform, everyone is using it. It's a very helpful thing. But then if my messaging is not what it is on other mediums, which are my main mediums, my store, my TV ad, for example, my outdoor, which I use to connect with customers on a different level, and at the same time I bring them onto the digital to create the kind of relationship I want with our brand. So then if the messaging is not right, so any platform that we use is just going to not add value as much. But generally speaking, the traditional rule of thumb is, of course, that right now, if you have different digital platforms, which includes your social media, which in the future will be including AI as well. If you just have the core messaging there, as long as you have your customers reacting to them, responding to them, so that is something to start with, I would say, begin with.
Other questions for Ehsan?
Do you want to ask the audiences about what have they experienced in the QSR industry? If something they want to share, because everyone here must have tried fast food, right? So have they gone through a drive-through where there is AI or anything like that? Any certain experience somebody wants to share?
Who's seeing some very interesting use cases in fast food or food? You got one?
Can I give any example related to that or any specific thing?
Sure, yeah, anywhere in the world, global, yeah.
I can give one example. Last week I was in Montreal for the AI in Action Summit, and the conclusion was from Peter, where, the organizer of the event, that we should show some empathy to AI. I love that idea actually. Like, we always think like AI is like a tool, an agent who is working for us. We talk about customer experience, but we never talk about experience what AI feels from us. Do we give some empathy to the AI? No. So what I did from that day onwards, whenever I use Claude, Gemini for anything, I start my day, hey, good morning, brother, how are you? Can you help me with this thing? The same goes with Gemini, with other AI agents that I work. And I did make a post about it where I gave the screenshots for 4 different AI agents, how they responded back to me. What are their comments to me? And believe me, from then onwards, we both are working like brothers. So whichever AI agent I'm working, I always show empathy to it. And in return, it says, hey Taran, how is your day today and how I can make it productive for you today? It starts with that for me. So I can say that is also a way of customer experience for me, where the AI, based upon the previous chats that I do with it, the work I do with it, it gives me a personalized feeling that yesterday we worked on this activity. How are you feeling today? How can I help you today? So that's what I think. It's a new way for me. Even from an AI standpoint, I feel if we can try to give some manners, some respect to AI, it's going to learn that in its brain, right? And eventually, it's going to learn the moral values of humanity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think we're at that point that the lines between human and technology are going to be blurring even more, to your point. And I kind of look at it right now when AI, and think of it a robot in a fast food that's delivering it, hey, how are you doing today, right? I kind of roll my eyes. It's like, all right, that was a program. But that to that point, that's part of the experience, and we will get more used to it. And from that perspective,
Yes.
I have to tell ChatGPT and Claude and all of them, over time, like, stop being so positive. Give me gravity mode. Come on, just give me, et cetera. So anyway, we are out of time. Help me thank Ehsan for such a great session.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.